As photographers, we know that getting a correct exposure is one of the most important things in photography. In this video, we're going to be discussing the 5 things which affect your exposure and how you can use them to create stunning images. The first thing to consider is your subject. What you are shooting and how you want your subject to look will have a great effect on your exposure. For example, in a portrait shoot, you can bring in extra lights and reflectors to work with the exposure, but it's not so easy to do that with landscape photography. If your subject is moving, you're going to need to use a fast shutter speed to freeze that movement. Or if you're looking for a bokeh effect, then you're going to need to use a small depth of field. The color of your subject can also affect how you light it. Darker colors absorb more light, whilst lighter colors reflect it. Another important factor is the location of your shoot. Where you are shooting can affect whether you have natural or artificial light available for your photos. If you're outside on a sunny day, then you'll have plenty of light to work with. But if you're indoors, then you're going to be relying on light from a window or artificial lighting, which can be more challenging to work with. The colors in your surroundings can also affect your exposure. This includes not just the colors in your scene, but also those outside of the frame. This is especially important to keep in mind when shooting in environments such as a snowy landscape, as the bright white of the snow can easily overexpose your image. Time of day is another factor to consider. Daylight is constantly changing, so you may see something that looks really beautiful, but by the time you've got your camera out and set up, the light has changed. As the sun moves across the sky, the light also changes with it, meaning that your shadows are going to be on the opposite side of your subject from the morning to the afternoon. Photographers often talk about the golden hour and the blue hour, which are perfect times to shoot because of the softer light and the beautiful colors created by the sunset or sunrise. The weather also plays an important role in your exposure. On a sunny day, there is more light than on a cloudy day. However, many photographers actually prefer to shoot on a cloudy day because of the softer light and fewer harsh shadows. Other weather conditions such as rain or mist can also reduce the amount of light available, and therefore you're going to need to adjust your exposure accordingly. On the other hand, snow and ice can actually increase the amount of light because of how much they reflect the light. Therefore, you're going to need to adjust your exposure accordingly for them as well. Finally, the light source. The sun is not the only light source we have available. You can also use artificial lights such as flashlights, indoor lights, fluorescent lights, incandescent lights, etc. With artificial lights, you can often control the power of the light, either with a dial on the light itself or by moving it closer or further away from your subject. This gives you a lot of control over your exposure and allows you to be very precise with it. By understanding these 5 factors of exposure, you can really start to use them to your advantage and get some really amazing photos. If you want to learn more about exposure, then make sure you check out my Get to Know Your Camera course. In this course, you'll learn everything you need to know about exposure and everything else about your camera as well, so that you can really take your photos to the next level. The link is in the description to learn more about the course, but if you have any questions, please just drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye bye.